So in the first day or two, usually people end up somewhere completely different than where they originally thought they would.
Isn't that crazy? That's been my experience a lot of times too. That is so interesting. Moving to a new city and buying a house at the same time can be tough, but we have 3 tips and tricks for how to buy when you're relocating. Nick, welcome today. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Justin, thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the Landis Look, where we take an inside look at the world of real estate. And Nick, you have helped a lot of people buy houses this year who have moved to Atlanta, so they're not from here. You're going to hit us up with some tips and tricks. Let's do it. What's tip and trick number 1?
All right, Justin. So this year, we've been very fortunate in helping a lot of people move here to the Atlanta area. Mm-hmm. And obviously, if you've never been to Atlanta, that can be a scary place to start with.
Metro Atlanta is humongous. It is huge.
It is huge. There's about 6 million people that live here. So obviously, there's something for everyone. Mm-hmm. And the number 1 trick that I use when I help people relocate is start broad. So we start as far in advance as possible, and we start as broad as possible. So
I think this is probably counterintuitive, Nick. A lot of people probably think I need to know where I want to look or it's going to be impossible. But you found it's actually the opposite.
Yeah. Out of my experience, the big thing is that when you move here, you obviously have no idea. So there's no no's at that point in time. So everything is open for discussion. And usually within the first 2 or 3 days of just online looking, we narrow it down quite drastically. So as you know, Atlanta has different areas with different price points, different styles of homes, and a lot of different activities in each area. So, for example, some people like the great outdoors. You might go somewhere where there's a lot of parks.
I like it. And so if people start to narrow down just from the information as you're helping them navigate what's most important, and then what happens when they actually come here? Are most people, that's a good question, are most people coming here for the actual house hunting, or are people doing this remotely?
So it's a mix. Actually, a current stat is that about 5% of all homes in the Metro Atlanta area are being sold sight unseen or just through FaceTime. So obviously this happens a lot. But if possible, we'd like to spend a couple days with clients just showing them the areas. We still prefer to do 5 homes in a block. So we do an area, we show 5 homes, and we really narrow down on that area. If you didn't like it, we keep it there. If not, we can always move to different parts of town.
And so what do you find that in those first day or 2 of searching usually happens?
So in the first day or 2, usually people end up somewhere completely different than where they originally thought they would be.
Isn't that crazy? That's been my experience a lot of times too. That is so interesting.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. We started off with a couple that moved from Maine. We started off in Ackworth, and we ended up in Roswell.
Yep.
So you never know.
And that's just because as you see the houses and neighborhoods, you get to see them in person, and there's the feel and emotion, and you get to see the pricing. Obviously, 600 in Ackworth and Roswell, you're getting very different age houses and size houses and all that. And it's just a matter of people start to be able to prioritize better when they've actually seen it.
Yeah. So what we've seen, in my experience at least, is that a lot of people have heard from friends or colleagues or someone else that said, you know what, you should live here because this is the right spot for you.
That is so true. So true.
And that might not always be the case. Like I said, this couple, they were looking for space, and then they realized location was more important, something that was closer to a nature preserve. So obviously Roswell is a great area for that. There's a lot of nature there, and you're still close to the city.
Yeah, awesome. All right, what's tip number 2?
Number 2 is trust the process. So that is...
I have a coffee mug that says that. Trust the process. I like it.
Yes. So obviously we do this every day. And so do our preferred lenders. We work with a preferred lender who is local and who understands the market. That is one of the number 1 things in a competitive market that will set you apart.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to have a local lender if you're not local, or a local inspector, or a local anything, right? Because I mean, you're not local. And yeah, I mean, that is one of the things that you doing it so many times can make it easier for folks is, yeah, you've been through the process and they can just trust that.
Yeah, it's been very beneficial for a lot of out-of-town clients to use someone local because, as you mentioned, they know the market, they know what's going on, and especially in a market that we're currently in, which is um, very aggressive. This allows you to do things in a very timely manner, which you probably can't do if you go with a box office giant out of Minneapolis looking to do your loan, for example.
All right, Nick, what is number 3? And for those of you all that have waited around, this one is going to surprise you the most because when you share this, people are usually shocked that you can do it. What's tip number 3?
So, Justin, like we said before, we're in such a busy market. There's a lot going on. A lot of people only have 2 or 3 days here in the area, and they're so focused on that one property. The best tip that we can give anybody is to put out multiple offers on multiple properties.
Is that even allowed? Isn't that the most common comment? Like, hey, can I make an offer on 4 properties at the same time?
That is 100% the question I get every time. And the answer to that is yes. Because you don't have anything under contract yet. And you don't get in any trouble for making an offer. So what we've done and what we've seen be very successful is not get too fixated on one property. Try to get a couple that the client really likes.
Yep.
Get those offers out in the, according to the timelines that the sellers are looking for. And really find something that would work for them in an offer and just write a couple. You might get lucky.
It's really important to get a house when you're relocating, right? You're like, hey, I'm moving here for a job on July 1st. We came Memorial Day weekend to find a house. If you only make an offer on one house, many offers are competitive, right? So, I mean, it's not like it's a 98% chance you're going to get the offer that you make, which is why you put the odds in your favor. If you can find 4 houses that you all could work for you, if you got them at the right price, then you're just really increasing your likelihood that you're going to have the house on July 1st.
Yeah, and that's something that we really emphasize when we do these showings is that if you like something, let's just write an offer. Let's go through the process and see where we end up. Because what you don't want is to be at home, back in your home state after your trip, and that one property just slips through your fingers because someone offered $1 million cash for a $300,000 home. You don't want that to happen.
And you joke, but yes, similar to that has been happening sometimes. So awesome. All right, Nick. So let's real quick recap the 3 tips and tricks. I mean, one is to start broad. You don't have to know it where you're going to be. And like you said, most people actually change where they think they're going to be to where they actually are. Number 2 is to trust the process. I mean, just trust the process. We've done this before. We've got folks who are local to help you along. And number 3 is it's okay to make offers on multiple houses. If you got multiple places that would be great if you get them, hey, let's do it and let's increase your odds to get it. So, man, I really appreciate that. And I know the clients that you've helped move here this year have appreciated that approach as well. Thanks for sharing it today. And to everyone watching, if you know someone who needs help with relocation, we've got you covered. Just send us a message. Nick would be happy to get into more detail with them. And we will see you guys next week.
Thank you, Justin.
Bye.